Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the broadcast. You're watching EBN Prime Edition. We are coming to live from Kenya's capital tonight on the 29th of August 2024. Quite a jam-packed day it was, and we've got quite a lot of stories that we have been keeping tabs on from the corridors of court, where a former county official has been sentenced to prison 8 years, or he will have to pay a fine of 85.4 million shillings. Aside from that, the president is on a 4-day state tour of the Nyanza region, has been very much welcomed in the region, a region that has largely been a solid base for Raila Odinga. Aside from that, we'll also be crossing over just a bit to that live county hall event to which he is presiding over, as has been the norm for the last couple of weeks. And so, as I've said, we've got you covered on various stories making headlines across the country. But let's kick it off with the day's top stories. Former Samburu County Governor Moses Lenolkulal sentenced to 8 years in prison or pay a fine of 85.4 million shillings in a historic ruling at the Anti-Corruption Court. Ground shifts for President William Ruto in Nyanza region. ODM party leaders in Homa Bay show support for the UDA party leader. Teachers strike on day 4. Union members call for the resignation of Nancy Macharia as the Teachers Service Commission boss. Well, you are in safe pair of hands. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Let's get this show started. Now, begin from the corridors of court, where former Samburu County Governor Moses Lenolkulal has been hit with a mandatory fine of 83.4 million shillings or 4 years in prison in default, following his conviction in the Oryx filling station scandal, in which he was found guilty of the illegal acquisition of public property. In addition, Lenolkulal will also pay a fine of 1 million shillings or face 4 years in prison in default for conflict of interest. He's also been banned from vying for public office for 10 years. The Anti-Corruption Court in Nairobi has made history by convicting and punishing Lenolkulal, marking the first time a former county governor has received such a verdict. The court on Wednesday found Lenolkulal, who was also the proprietor of Oryx filling station, corruptly received 84 million shillings from supplying petroleum products to his county government in a severe case of conflict of interest.
I hereby sentence you as follows. 1. Under section 48(1)(a) of ASECA, each one of you to pay a fine of 1 million in default to serve 4 years imprisonment. That's the first limit. Under section 1B, as read with section 2A of ASECA, first accused person, you shall then pay a mandatory fine in the sum of 83,460,995. That sum is equivalent to twice the benefit after apportioning the public funds unlawfully acquired between yourself and the 11th accused person. So that's the sentence for the governor, Lenolkulal. You can sit down, Lenolkulal. That's your sentence. Under section 48(1)(b, as read with section 48(2)(a) of ASECA, the 11th accused person, Esbon Ndadi, you shall also pay a fine of 83,460,995, equivalent to twice the benefit after dividing or apportioning that the public funds unlawfully acquired between you and the first accused person. So you also pay that. So that's the sentence for the 11th accused person. You can sit down.
Right, and of course that is just a ruling that has happened this evening, which is quite historic in the Republic of Kenya. We'll be keeping tabs with that to see more reactions that will keep on coming in. But away from that, let's keep up with the head of state. President William Ruto made a grand entry into Kisumu on Wednesday evening, weeks after a political reunion with his former ally turned chief rival Raila Odinga. Ruto expressed surprise at the warm reception, contrasting it with the stoning of his motorcade during a campaign stop in 2021 when he visited the area as deputy president. His decision to collaborate collaborate closely with Raila, the political leader of the Luo Nyanza region, has endeared him to the people of Kisumu and the broader Nyanza region. Ruto credited his partnership with Raila in forming a broad-based government as a key factor in steering the country in the right direction.
Unajua Mheshimiwa Rais, nimekuwa hapa Homa Bay, hapa ndiye nimezaliwa. Kwa muda mrefu nimepiga siasa hapa Homa Bay. Lakini siku hii, leo ndiyo siku ya kwanza ya mimi kusimama hapa na kuongea na watu wetu kama mimi ni waziri wa Kenya. Kwa uchaguzi uliopita, rais wa Kenya kuwafanyia Wakenya kazi na mtatupatia tu mwaka mmoja, uchumi wa Kenya lazima ifufuke na isonge mbele na Wakenya waone maana ya hii serikali ya broad coalition.
Ndiye huyu mimi Rigiji, ile mtu kutoka mlima. Nimekuja na salamu mingi kutoka mlima Kenya. Mumepokea? Sisi tumekuja hapa na kiongozi wetu, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, kwa mambo ya maendeleo. Kwa sababu juzi tumemaliza mambo ya siasa. Tumesema sasa sisi zote tuungane, tupange mambo ya maendeleo. Mambo ya siasa rais amepanga, tumemaliza. Yule mzee wetu baba aende Afrika akuwe kiongozi wetu. Tumekubaliana. Tumekubaliana. Hata mimi nimefurahi vile mmetukaribisha hapa. Unajua mimi sikuwa nimejua siri ya kukaa na nyinyi. Sasa nimejua siri ya kukaa na nyinyi ni sisi kuwa watu ya baba. Sasa tuko pamoja.
Sisi wote kama Wakenya wote tumekubaliana ya kwamba Raila Amolo Odinga atakuwa kiongozi kwa mapenzi ya Mungu wa Afrika mzima. Sisi wote tumekubaliana. Wakenya wamekubaliana. Serikali ya Kenya mimi naongoza, tumesema baba ndiye atakuwa kiongozi wa bara letu la Afrika. Tutamshika mkono, tutamuombea, tutamfanyia campaign, na bara letu la Afrika wamekubali.
Right, so I'd love us to cross over live to an event which is, currently happening, that is led by President William Ruto, where he is at Kisumu, or in Kisumu, for the Kisumu County Hall meeting, and he's been doing this for the past few weeks, just addressing various issues, that are crippling the country or that are plaguing the country. So let's cross over and listen in live shortly.
Kwa sababu sote sisi lazima tushughulike na mambo ya food security. Hata kama unaniona vile mimi niko rais, pia mimi ni mkulima. Kwa sababu vile wewe unafanya donda, pia wewe unataka kufanya ukulima. Lakini umesema ya kwamba ungependa tuwe na vile ya kuwasaidia kufanya hiyo urban farming. And you are very right. Hiyo urban farming inaendelea in many parts. Lakini hatujakuwa na mpango kamili ya support ya urban farming. Farming is a devolved function. Sasa hiyo farming iko chini ya ma-county. Lakini I will take it up. It is a challenge umenipatia kwamba tunaweza kuwa na mpango gani ili kusupport food security. Tuwe na mpango ya kusupport urban farming. It's an idea you have put in my mind. I will have a conversation with the counties. Nitakuwa na mazungumzo na counties tuone vile tunaweza kuwapatia support. Haya. Hapo kwa religion pia umesema kuna ghetto, makanisa ni mingi kuliko shule na hospitali. Na unasema kuna watu wengine wanaabudu kwa kichaka. Karibu kama iwe kama ya ule mtu. Ule wa Shakahola. Na ni kweli hiyo Shakahola.
The president is currently speaking, perhaps addressing various issues that had been raised, questions concerning agriculture, as is mentioned, on just how can the country boost matters to do with food security. So we'll be keeping tabs with that meeting as well, just to see what exactly he says, and we'll be informing you in our subsequent bulletin. But let's still stick with his tour. Now, the Kenyan political doublespeak continued in Homa Bay as President William Ruto continued with his day 2 of the Luo Nyanza region tour. Political leaders from the region have now rallied behind the head of state following the state's support for Raila Odinga's African Union Commission chairperson bid. President William Ruto attended the homecoming ceremony of the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury, John Mbadi, following his appointment to cabinet. ODM party's top leadership was also in attendance, led by the deputy party leaders, Governor for Mombasa County, Abdul Somad Nasir, and Governor for Kisii County, Simba Arati, as well as the national chairperson, who also doubles up as the county governor for Homa Bay, Gladys Wanga.
Excellency, I have not spoken this morning, but I have brought a message of goodwill, and I've come here to assert and affirm and confirm that as long as you are with Baba, we are going to work together with you for the unity and peace of the great Republic of Kenya.
You have fulfilled the Constitution as the symbol of unity for this country. You have brought the country together. And I want to thank you immensely for appointing our ODM members, John Mbadi, Opiyo Wandayi, Hassan Ali Joho, and Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya. But including that, pia umetuongezea mpaka na AG ako huku kwetu. Na kama Homa Bay pia tuko na PS wa interior, pia hatujawaipata kama hiyo, na umetupatia pia hiyo PS ya interior. Tunakushukuru sana Mheshimiwa Rais. Mheshimiwa Rais, Mheshimiwa Mbadi ambaye umemchukua, mimi na yeye tumekuwa marafiki sana. Tumekaa bunge pamoja kutokea 2013. Juzi tukashikana tena tukasema yeye anataka governor na mimi nataka governor. Wakati baba alimwambia wachia mama, akasema sawa, tukakuja kwa huyu uwanja akaniwachia. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Rais, nataka kukuambia the gentleman you have beside you there is a trustworthy gentleman.
Wakati nilisikia Mheshimiwa Mbadi vile anateuliwa kama waziri, nikasema hiyo ni ndio, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Mbadi ni mtu ambaye anaweza kuaminika. Ni mtu ambaye ako na sifa. Na nina hakika ataendesha hii shughuli ya finance national treasury kwa njia inayofaa. Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi kazi yangu pamoja na Mheshimiwa Mbadi ni kusaidia wewe. Mimi hasa kazi yangu itakuwa kusaidia wewe kusambaza stima katika hii eneo la Suba South, katika hii eneo ya Homa Bay County, katika hii eneo ya Nyanza na Kenya nzima.
Ni watu wa chama, na mimi jana nilikwambia kule Migori, kwa sababu wewe ulikuwa naibu wa chama cha ODM. Sasa wakati utasikia furugu kule mahali upo, sisi kama ODM tumesema kwamba tutataka tukaribishe nyumbani. Mtakubali Rais Ruto William Oparanya, sisi tumepeana nyinyi katika serikali ya Kenya Kwanza. Tafadhali msituangushe. Mheshimiwa Rais, utakapotaka wengine, mimi kama deputy party leader nitakupea wafanya kazi pamoja na wewe.
And let's switch gears away from politics. As the teachers' strike continues for the fourth day, a section of teachers in Kericho County under the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Teachers, KUPPET, have called for the resignation of Teachers Service Commission boss Nancy Macharia. Speaking in Kericho County, the KUPPET teachers who protested said the labor issues are supposed to be negotiated and not taken to court. Nonetheless, the teachers promised to bow down or not to bow down to what they termed as the Teachers Service Commission intimidations.
TSC thinks that it can intimidate teachers. You cannot intimidate us. No. To use the head of institutions to intimidate teachers. Yes. We know what you did to the JSS teachers. Yes. We are warning you, don't do that to us. Yes. Labor disputes are supposed to be negotiated. Yes. You don't throw us court orders. Yes. We are saying Nancy Macharia should know who writes the transfer letter. Yes. And why is he still in office? Yes. That is the big question. A PW teacher who has been amputated, transferring to interior place, and then removing teachers who are paid money to places they want to go. We are saying corruption must stop.
Na tumesema aturudi darasani. tunamwambia rais wa Kenya William Samoei Ruto kwamba Nancy Macharia ameshindwa na kazi. Walimu wako na ujumbe mingi hapa kutoka bank, wameambiwa wameshindwa kulipa loan na hiyo pesa imekata kwa payslip. Tunasema hapa rais lazima abadilishe TSC. There must be an overhaul of the Teacher Service Commission so that the teachers of this country can get their right. We are also saying this. The career progression guidelines. Ile imekandamiza mwalimu kwa miaka mingi. Itolewe.
Na ya kwamba walimu wetu wote mahali wapo wameheed to the call. Wamesema ya kwamba hawataenda shuleni mpaka masirai yote na those demands zenye tulikuwa tumepeana ya CPA, demands ya confirmation of the 46,000 teachers who are interns, demands zetu za medical cover, demands zetu za promotions, demands zetu zote zenye tulikuwa tumepea Teacher Service Commission 9 sikuwa address zote.
Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi was on Thursday forced to address a group of striking Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, and Mudavadi was in Vihiga for the Kazi Maju Job Fair, the Western edition, when he addressed a group of striking teachers. The Prime CS said he could not make promises to teachers at that time, but he, however, pledged to listen to their concerns and raise them in the cabinet. The school's reopening coincided with the start of the nationwide strike by teachers allied to KUPPET after their counterparts from the Kenya National Union of Teachers called off their strike on Sunday.
Najua mnasema ukweli, but I also don't want to make a ridiculous statement while here. I must make a statement that I can push ahead and it stands with time. If I come here and I say I will pay the salaries today, I'll be lying to you, isn't it? And I don't want to lie to you. So the most important thing is for me to listen and then to take this petition at the highest level, which is at cabinet level, so that we can find proper and durable solutions to the challenges that you're facing. Vihiga County has 26 schools which don't have deputy principals. We have 12 schools which are missing principals. Those teachers we have here, you are seeing, none of them qualifies to be a head teacher. None of them qualifies to be a deputy. Colleagues, I want to ask you, is that true? This strike will not be called off. Number 3, the Teacher Service Commission has refused to sort out the issues of our medical cover. Our teachers are dying in hospitals. Our teachers are unable to get treatment because of the very many bureaucratic procedures that have been introduced by that cover. We are saying right now, so many hospitals have been closed down because they have not been paid their money by the Teacher Service Commission. These teachers are suffering, and because of that medical allowance that was taken away, we want TSC to address that issue immediately.
Elimu ndio msingi wa maendeleo, na walimu wetu mumefanya kazi mzuri. Bila mwalimu hakuna hata minister, hakuna hata governor, hakuna. Kwa hivyo walimu, kazi yenu tunasema ni kazi mzuri, na haki yenu lazima mupatiwe.
Now, former Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha has today handed over the docket to her successor, Deborah Mulongo, who assumed office on August 8th. During the handover at Afya House, Nakhumicha said that she leaves the docket having implemented reforms to boost the health sector in Kenya. Among the reforms that the former CS boasts of is the introduction of the community health promoters, where over 100,000 professionals have since been trained on providing basic medical care. The former CS also boasted of reforms in the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, which had previously been rocked with procurement fraud in medical supplies.
So I'm happy to welcome you to the Ministry of Health and to tell you that this is a good place to be, and to also assure you that we laid a very good foundation for the universal health coverage. As I was telling you earlier, we did all the groundwork. So now it's up to you to fly the plane and ensure that Kenyans get universal health coverage. I live with my head held very high because of whatever we were able to achieve. So as I walk out of this place today, I'm very happy with the 107,000 community health promoters who are trained, who are kitted, who are providing services to Kenyans. I'm also very happy that we were able to roll out the electronic community health management information system, that as you sit in the office, I'm sure by now you must have tried the dashboard and you are able to see reports coming in of what the community health promoters are doing. For me, that is good achievement.
I have had the opportunity to meet the CHPs and I am encouraged by the energy in most of them. I am keen to strengthen this program as well, and the establishment of primary healthcare networks and other initiatives to anchor.
Now, the government will not proceed with the vaccination against Mpox disease. This is according to the Director General of Health, Dr. Patrick Amoth. Amoth has said that although there are reported cases at the border of Malaba, the government is encouraging Kenyans to prevent the infections. More than 2 million doses of vaccines are expected in the country to deal with the Mpox disease.
Africa as a continent requires 10 million doses of the Mpox vaccine. Discussions from the Africa CDC indicate that Africa would be able to get about 2 million doses of the vaccine by the end of the year, if you have discussions with the manufacturer, that is Bavaria Nordic in Copenhagen. However, you must remember that Mpox is endemic in Nigeria, unlike Kenya, which reported the first case of Mpox this year. The burden of disease is greater in Nigeria, and therefore the allocation of the vaccines will be based on the burden of disease. We are still in phase 1, where we have less, in terms of our response plan, we have 3 phases. Phase 1, less than 99 cases. Phase 2, 1,000 cases. Phase 3, more than 1,000 cases spread all over the country. So for now, vaccine will not be a top priority.
Now, the government will not compel Kenyans to register for the new Maisha card and will not tie its acquisition to the next general elections. Instead, it hopes to ride on the superior features of the new identity cards to encourage Kenyans to ditch their current documents and gradually transition to a digital version supported by Maisha number. Immigration Principal Secretary Julius Bitok said that while the current second-generation IDs will remain valid and acceptable even in the next elections, the advanced digital features in the Maisha card offer substantial user benefits. The PS was speaking at the Nairobi Serena Hotel after hosting a breakfast meeting with representatives from civil society organizations, religious leaders, the private sector, youth, and other special groups.
Mambo ya vitambulisho si ati tumeanzisha. Imekuanga. Data yao imekuwa very safe hii miaka yote. Hata saa hii data yao iko very safe. I want to guarantee. Na saa hii tuko na sheria kali ya Data Protection Act ambayo inachunga data ya Wakenya wote. Na tunahakikisha kwamba tumefuata hiyo sheria kulingana na penye imetengenezwa ili kila mtu aweze kuhakikisha kwamba data yake is safe at all times. Na wacha niseme hii project pia ni serikali ya Kenya peke yake inafanya. Hatuna external support, hatuna watu wengine wametoka huko nje. Najua kuna watu waletanga propaganda ati tunaweka watoto chip. Hiyo ni uongo. Msikie hiyo uongo. Ati namba ni namba ya siku ya mwisho. Hiyo pia ni uongo. Hii namba si mmesikia watu wanaambia watu kanisa msikubali. Namba ya mwisho. Hii namba ni namba ya kitambulisho, sio namba ya mwisho. So nataka kuambia kwamba kama watu wa media mtusaidie ili kueneza ujumbe mzuri kuhusu hii project mzuri. Sasa hii tumetoa vetting kama huko wewe ni Msomali, wewe ni mtu unatoka huko Mandera, hiyo border counties Turkana, hakuna mambo ya vetting. Unapata kitambulisho kama Mkenya wowote.
Now, days after Kalonzo Musyoka declared himself as the official opposition leader, Wiper members of parliament have welcomed this move to take over as the official opposition leader in the country. Speaking during a funeral in Kilungu, Makueni County, the legislators led by Kaiti Member of Parliament Joshua Kimilu said the decision by Wiper party leader to become the opposition leader was timely after what he termed as Raila Odinga's betrayal to the opposition. Activists say it is time for Kalonzo Musyoka to push for the interests of the lower eastern regional bloc.
Thank you so much.
Raila Amolo Odinga, through opposition, has championed great policies for this republic. Similarly, I would like to state that Kalonzo Musyoka has learned a lot from His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, He has learned new techniques about demonstrations, about picketing, about sit-ins. Previously, we did not have our Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka participating in demonstrations, but we saw during the Gen Zs and many other occurrences that were happening in the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka participated actively in demonstrations. We saw demonstrations at Wote, that is in Makueni, Sultan, Mali, all the way to Mombasa. Machakos was actually a hotbed for demonstrations, and that is the headquarters for the Kamba Nation. And we accept that His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka is the kingpin for the Kamba Nation. I say now this is the moment for the Kamba Nation to shine through Kalonzo Musyoka being the right opposition leader for the Republic of Kenya. Now he is not playing his role for the Kamba Nation only. He is actually doing it for the entire Republic of Kenya. I ask all Kenyans of goodwill and Kenyans who do not entertain bad governance, Kenyans who do not entertain corruption, all to back His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka to ensure that he plays his opposition
Now, in a bid to shape the future of healthcare in Africa, the second annual Transforming African MedTech Conference, led by Vilgro Africa, was successfully launched. The event brought together 120 MedTech delegates from 14 countries. The inaugural event underscored a significant demand for collaboration and networking among African professionals in the medical technology sector.
Maternal, and we are starting off with point of healthcare providers facilities.
Because the Africa CDC actually endorses the idea of innovation and transformation, looking at issues of digitalization, looking at issues of, innovative medical technologies to support routine clinical care or management, but also most importantly to safeguard public health on the continent.
We believe that Africa needs to start owning our own healthcare. We need to stop sending patients to India and other places, and that's only possible if we start innovating solutions locally.
By designing specifically with and for low resource settings, affordability and accessibility are key constraints that we have addressed. We work directly with our hospitals, both public and private sector. We engage governments, we engage NGO and multilateral agencies, and we engage the private sector. Anybody who is addressing the critical need of improving newborn mortality is who we are working with.
It is an economic driver because the people, young or otherwise, who are innovating and manufacturing are going to be developing jobs. So it is going to be a big job booster. Very, very excited to see what happens in the next 2, 5, and even 10.
Now, Kenya plans to increase diaspora remittance to 1 trillion shillings by 2027, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has confirmed. Mudavadi said that last year, Kenyans working abroad sent home 671 billion shillings, which was bigger than the traditional foreign income earners of tea and coffee combined, signaling the new cash cow for the country. Speaking during the Western edition of the Kazi Majuu Job Fair in Vihiga County, Mudavadi said that the government has stepped up the number of those getting jobs so that they can benefit from the dollars through remittances.
That the government appreciates that our human resource is our biggest asset. Our country is blessed with a rich diversity of talent that is in great demand across the globe. Last year alone, Kenyans in the diaspora remitted back home. Now listen to this figure. 671 billion Kenya shillings, making a significant contribution to economic and social prosperity at household and national level. Diaspora remittances are now the leading source of foreign exchange, contributing more than the combined forex earnings from our traditional exports.
Your Excellency, these job fairs were necessitated by the employment crisis or the unemployment situation that we find ourselves in. In Kenya, we have about 10 million young people who should be actively involved in employment. But we find that only 31% of these youth, or rather we find that 31% of these youth are either unemployed or underemployed. They're not actively involved in the employment space.
Well, it is half minutes past the hour mark, and that is where I would love to wrap it up tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you're duly informed on what is making headlines across the country. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Have yourself a wonderful night. Do join Consolata Chibalonzo on Morning Live, as well as Fred Njuri on the Leadership Challenge. They'll be taking a look at what is making rounds in the country as well as headlines. So keep it EBN TV. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Good night.